So everybody keeps frothing the milk, keeps steaming the milk. Milk was my kryptonite, to be very honest. So it took me a while to even understand like exactly how to get the right textured milk. I had to work a lot on understanding how the milk flows inside, where do you keep the steam on, how deep inside, how down below, where in the center and all that. All these things are really important, alright? So tip number 1, use super chilled milk, alright? And I'll connect this with your bar setup. Whenever order comes in, you need to use like super chilled milk. So which means that your fridge should be very close to the espresso machine so that you can like quickly take out the milk and keep it back inside. It's very important to have a right temperature of the milk to froth it, because colder the milk, more the time you will get to froth it. So you should do this experiment. Use a room temperature milk, try to get that texture. Use chilled milk like 4-5 degrees Celsius and try to get the texture. So you'll see that when you use a cold milk, you'll get more time to stretch the milk. And by stretching the milk, what I mean is by increasing the volume, by infusing air inside. So that's one thing, that you should use chilled, super chilled milk. Never add ice cube in your milk. That is like a free tip that I'm putting. This was somebody, particularly 2 people who were discussing about this. Point number 2, listen to the milk. Alright? Yes, the milk speaks. Trust me on that. If you listen carefully whenever you're steaming up the milk at home, at the cafe, or if you're ordering a coffee somewhere, keep listening to the steam wand and the milk, because the way the milk starts making sound, it will kind of reflect in your froth also. Now, if you are basically, if your steam wand is too deep inside, let's say for example, too deep inside the pitcher, it'll start making a sound like. And if you keep the steam wand too up, the sound will be like this. Alright, so that is how you listen to the milk. A good sound is something like. So a good practice actually is also that when you steam the milk, you can close your eyes and you can just see how it is doing, how it is sounding, and you can like make the adjustments accordingly. That actually works. I tried that, and that's how you can practice your you can ace up your game. Tip number 3, you need to be understanding all the pitchers, how big, large, all these things. You need to understand that. You need to understand how the steam wand has got its spouts at the end, how many holes are there, in which direction the air is going. Usually the air goes like this. You just need to understand the angle, if it is this much or that much. So you need to understand that. It's almost like, as I keep always saying, that if any Formula 1 driver wants to win a championship, he or she would always need to know the machine very well. They are not just drivers, alright? So here also you need to know your espresso machine very well, your pitcher, your spout, how many holes are there in that spout, what kind of milk pitcher do you have, what kind of steam wand is it, how much air is it coming, how much steam is coming, what is the pressure of the steam. All these things will make you, so basically what you can't measure, you can't, what you can't measure, you can't improve. So that is either something else, but fine. It's important to know which equipments you're using and use the right equipments, right? Make sure you know, third point is, make sure you know what kind of pitcher, what kind of steam wand. You should know all the equipments you're working with. Fourth tip is, make sure that all your motions are exactly the same always. So repeatability is the master of, I don't know what, but repeatability is everything. So you're doing the same action again and again. Like when you hold a pitcher, like there are slight subtle differences. Like, if I'm holding the pitcher over here and you're moving just this much, that's more than enough sometimes to infuse air. This movement is also more than enough. Sometimes you just have to do this. Sometimes you have to go down. So whatever you're doing, just make sure that you're holding your pitcher very well and you're doing the same actions, same movements. And also one more thing, one important tip in this that I want to add, the movements of pitcher while you're steaming the milk is not this much. Neither is it this much. The angles are really subtle. It's just this and this. There is a phase in frothing the milk which everybody faces, that you won't get how to froth the milk right, and then all of a sudden one day you're like, oh wow, I've aced it, I don't know how, and the next day again you're rock bottom. That happens with everybody. So I can see that happening with everybody. The bad part after that, what happens is all of a sudden you start getting the foam so-called right, and you get your latte art beautiful, but your foam is all over the place. So a good latte art does not mean that your milk is right. I can give you a good latte art with really this foam milk also, but that does not mean your foaming or frothing or steaming is right. So make sure that your movements, whatever you're doing, are really replicable, same, consistent. If you're doing it wrong, keep doing it wrong. If you're doing it the right way, keep doing it the right way. That's really important. And the last point, the fifth point, use the optimum amount of milk. Using optimum amount of milk is the most important thing in milk steaming. You'll see a lot of different pictures. You gotta understand the same amount of milk will not be probably suitable in the next picture because of the design of it, because of the shape of it. So you have to find the sweet spot of how much milk you should be putting in the pitcher to make one particular beverage. Too less amount of milk will make your coffee make your milk a little bubbly and foamy and frothy. Too much amount of milk in your pitcher will not bring that froth, will not bring that vortex, will not bring that silkiness, that smoothness in the milk, and it may not get heated up also. So a good textured milk is something, like literally if you swirl it inside the pitcher, there should be small drops that will be touching the edges, and at the same time there's a nice shine, like a nice new leather ball, how it shines. It should be like that. So that's kind of an indication of a good, beautiful milk.